Hello, everybody. This is Peter Tusik from Humanware, and I am creating another snapshot tutorial video on using the Outlook application. In the previous video, I had mentioned that we currently, with Keymail, are not able to support the most current authentication methods. So if you're not able to use an app-specific password, while we work on a fix, I wanted to create a couple of videos that can somewhat simplify or get you moving in the right direction on using the Outlook app, which is available from the Google Play Store. In this video, I'm going to talk about how we save an attachment, and then also a quick way is to reply or forward a message. I am on my menu. I have the Outlook app in focus. Again, if you're not using my menu, you can certainly, once it's downloaded from the Play Store, go to all applications and find it in your list of all apps. I'm going to press enter and open up my Outlook app.
Outlook favorites.
And remember,
Peter.to favorites.
When it opens, you're kind of focused in the middle of the screen. You'll see it says favorites. What we want to do at this point is find messages in our inbox. Now, when your inbox is in focus, this is very simple. What you can do to get to the top of your message list is press the letter F as in filter. The filter option is located before your very first message or your newest message in your inbox. So I'm going to press the letter F as in filter.
Filter button.
We hear it says filter button. We're not going to filter messages, but if I press my next thumb key.
Note to self, 1:13 p.m. has attachment. 2 messages in conversation. This message has an attachment. Please save this file to your device. Thanks, Peter to check direct. So
what we have is a message, and it says note to self because I sent this to myself. But this message that we're going to open has an attachment. We're going to talk about how we find that attachment and kind of how we can also reply to or forward this message to someone else. So again, the letter F moves when we find that filter option. Our messages will be displayed below, and they will be in threaded conversation views. So we will use our spacebar to navigate this message list. When we find the message we want to open, it's a matter of pressing enter. So I'm going to press enter.
Please, this message has an attachment.
What happens is it opens and the subject will be read out loud. Now, all messages, we want to actually read the content of a message. That content is placed in the reading pane, which is a web view, so that we can use L for link or H for heading and so on if those types of elements are in our messages. To quickly get into a web view, we can either press 5-6 with enter or your right and next thumb keys simultaneously. I'm going to press 5-6 with enter and actually look at the content of this message.
Reading pane, web view.
We hear that it says reading pane, web view. Now I'm in the message and I'm going to press my space bar and I will read the first line of this message.
Please save this file to your device.
Okay. Again, I can use my inner right thumb key and kind of scroll forward.
Thanks.
It's going to read that because I've moved down to the next line.
Peter.
And so on. So you can use your thumb keys to read the content. Your space bar would also move you down to the next line. If you have a link in this message, I can press L.
800-722-3393.
Here's the phone number
extension 21.
where we can call if we had like an iPhone or something. These show up as links when we're using a tablet. So L would go to the next link. If there was a heading in this message,
no next heading,
I could press H, but right now we have no next heading. So again, you are in a web view. So to summarize, once we open a message, to get to the message content, we need to find the reading pane, which is a web view. We press 5-6 with enter to go into that reading pane. To get out of the reading pane, to look at the options, there are options both above and below this reading pane. There's a lot of information on screen, which is typical of some of these third-party apps. They present information in columns, and there are probably things with different toolbars and various visually appealing places. But for us, where we work in a very linear sense, it's nice to know some tricks. So if we want to look at some of the reply options, they are actually located after the web view. So I can either press my next thumb key a bunch of times until I leave the web view, or I can press 5-6 with enter again to leave the web view and look at the options directly below that reading pane.
Reply options button.
The very first thing we will come to when we press 5-6 with enter are the reply options. This is where, if I press enter here,
reply Peter to check button.
We have an option to reply just to me, would be the first option. If there were multiple recipients, we would have a reply all option. Again, if I press my space bar, I will see the other options here. We won't have a reply all because I'm the only one, who sent this message. It was not a message sent to 4 or 5 people. If I press my space bar though,
Forward.
here's the forward option. So I can forward this message. I can send it to somebody else. And we looked at how we compose messages in a previous video. So if you press enter here on forward, you'll be brought into the compose web view where you could choose who you want to send this to. Maybe you want to change the subject or modify, change the mail body. You could do that. But this is where I find my reply and forward. They're in this reply options area.
Edit recipients.
You can also change the recipients from here. If you wanted to, you could do that. But I'm going to press my triangle and come back into our message area.
Outlook. Reply options button.
So we do have the reply options here.
Reply button.
And they're also just below that, there is a reply button. So again, reply options is really where you'll find forward. And there are always in these third-party apps, there can be multiple ways of accomplishing the same task. So if you don't want to go into reply options and then choose reply to Peter, you could just come down and find the reply button. Again, the key here is you need to leave the web view. If we want to get back into the web view, we can press dots 2, 3 with enter, because again, we are below the web view. So if I press 5, 6 with enter,
no web view
nothing
found.
happens. But if I press 2, 3 with enter,
reading pane.
I'm back in the
Web
reading
view.
pane. And now if I use my previous thumb key or I press 2, 3 with enter again, I'll go out of and above the web view.
Apply a reaction to this message button.
So again, the very first thing above the web view, we have apply a reaction. This is kind of if you wanted to send a thumbs up or something to the person who sent this to you. But if I go up with my previous thumb key and come up one more time,
File type docs. Setting up and using Braille with JAWS screen reader. Docs. Size 600 kilobits.
here is the attachment that I sent to myself or that somebody would have sent to me. And it says file type and it says the OCX file. It also says the name of the document. Now, what I'm going to do, if I want to save this to my device, I'm going to press enter and this will load in a preview.
Preview. Web view.
So it loads into this preview.
Completed.
And what we can do,
Indeterminate. Loading label.
it
Press Alt
loads
Shift for accessibility.
this piece in a preview, and you'll hear some keyboard shortcuts. So if you are using a QWERTY keyboard, you could use some shortcuts in this space. But what I want to do, if I want to quickly save this attachment to my device so that I can read it in keyword or edit it or whatever I may want to do with the file, I'm going to press M as in menu, M with space to pull up the context menu provided by Outlook. So again, I've opened the preview, going to press M as in menu with space.
Pop-up window. Save to account.
And I have some options here in a pop-up window, one of which is save to account. If I press my space bar,
Save to device.
I have a save to device option. So if I press enter on save to device,
Preview. Web view.
that file is now saved into my downloads folder. So it's very straightforward. Again, and we're placed back in the preview. So to get back into our message, we would press or space with E or use our back button, which is the triangle button located on the front of your device.
Outlook. File type docs. Setting up.
And again, now we're back in. And if I want to get into the message content, I would need to use 5, 6 with enter and so on. If you want to delete this message while it is open, you could
delete.
Press the letter D and move to the delete button. So you can delete a message once it is open. You could certainly do this from your inbox, which I'll cover in another video. But you are able to delete your message here while it is open. Again, a quick video just on how to open messages, how to quickly find the reply option, remembering that the message itself is the new message itself is in a reading pane, which is a web view. You can enter the web view by pressing 5, 6 with enter. Below the web view, you will have a reply kind of options if you want to forward or quickly reply. Above the web view is where you actually find the attachment. And in the commands to move below the web view, again, 5, 6 with enter. To move back into the web view or go above the web view, it's going to be 2, 3 with enter. So you do want to be conscious of where you are on screen. Are you in the web view? Are you above or below? And it's easy to kind of get yourself back to those anchor points. Hope this is helpful, and we'll certainly have other videos on managing messages. Thanks, friends.